everyone. Welcome to this week's Blonde Intelligence with me, Miss Ronnie, where I always seek to give you exquisite cranial repertoire. This week we have a very special guest. We have Christopher, an instrumentalist. Say hello to everyone.
Hello, world. Yes.
I'm glad that you came, and we're going to start off with letting you tell everyone a little bit about yourself.
Well, I'm a retired and now soon unretired musician. I had a great career for a good 15 years or so in the Minneapolis, St. Paul music scene. I was a professional drummer, and then I evolved into to writing and playing, and then into more of a producer, promoter, and I ran a talent agency for about 5 years. And a video production company. I kind of had my fingers in a lot of different things, festival production, those kinds of things. And I really got to be part of an incredible community there. I went through some life transitions around 2000, and I moved out east. And it was just a better time to kind of do something else. And so that was a personal growth period, which was wonderful. And then life happens while you're making plans. I met my lovely wife, and we had a child, and I did other things for the last 20 years. And I started teaching a few years ago at a high school, and was working with some inner city kids, and it kind of inspired me to get back into music, because I was like, well, hey, they're doing something very different. They're working with a lot of loops, and they're working with a lot of it's a different approach. They didn't have the music theory. I was trying, well, I want to teach you music theory. I want to do these other things that give you the foundation, which is all good, and I wish that for any young aspiring musician. But I noticed that they were doing some really...
What does every artist need? Press, 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 and more press. Music reviews, interviews, blog articles, press releases, the Blonde Intelligence video show, the Blonde Intelligence podcast, the Blonde Intelligence blog, Blonde Intelligence music reviews. Available on Pandora, Amazon Music, Apple, YouTube, and more. Social media blasts, build your EPK, expand your fan base, links to your press. For more information, visit blonde-intelligence.com.
Interesting things, not knowing anything about music, and really just kind of putting things together. And it was a different way of playing with the musical palette, and they were still composing, but different.
Produce now. You will talk to a lot of producers, and they'll tell you that they don't play an instrument, but they can put notes together.
Yeah, so the software has really advanced a lot. So I'm learning so much coming back into this. But the Our Voyage Home collection that I did, there's about 13 songs on there, and there are songs that I wrote. One of the pieces called Midnight Maiden I wrote. It's really kind of it's almost kind of a musical opera sort of. It's got so many. It's a journey. It's an adventure. It's one of the longer pieces on there, and that was something I wrote in college when I was studying artists like Chick Corea and some of the great jazz artists and so forth. And then I had a couple other pieces, which one of them I still have in your queue to listen to. It's called Waiting on You, and that along with another one called Pain. Those were kind of the staple live songs that we would perform with my group called Lower Town, and so we had a nice little thing going with that for several years in the Minneapolis St. Paul music scene. Well, I wanted to make sure that I put all these songs together that I had over this period of 40 years. I wrote some new ones. Troublemaker was one of the newer ones. I wanted to play with kind of a big band types of sounds, and I wanted to experiment with stuff, kind of get my chops back, because I wanted to get my arranging and songwriting skills kind of honed in. So I took some of the old and some of the new, and the pandemic came in as I was starting to wrap this up, so it was more difficult to connect with live musicians. So several of the pieces I basically performed everything, the drums, and I like to play drums live. I saw
that in your bio that you played several different instruments, and that you started off as a band instructor.
Not as a band instructor, as a band leader. So I had a band called Lower Town. It was a little jazz quartet. We were kind of came out of high school as buddies, and then did our thing for a while. But one of the things that I really wanted to do in this album, as I'm getting more familiar, so I played some vibraphones, I played some organs, I played a variety of different piano and keyboard types of things, and I really got a chance to explore a lot of new textures that I hadn't dealt with in a while in the recording, because I used to do a lot of soundtrack work for film and video, Aveda, hair products, and all kinds of stuff like that. And as I was kind of retiring around 2005, 2000-ish, I came out with a solo piano CD. So I transplanted out here to the East Coast, and I didn't have to deal with a band. That's kind of I always had this running band thing, in my vocabulary, which is a beautiful experience. There's nothing like playing live, and I got to play with some of the best musicians in the world. I'm truly blessed with that. But so I came up with this solo piano CD, a lot of all original stuff. It's actually. There it is. It's called Mystic Holiday. Where do you get it? Oh, I can't really see it very well. There you go. But that's up on my website. And that was nature sounds and piano, and that was beautiful. But it was different than these roots that I had in playing. So if I'm going to re-enter the music world, I had to get that off my chest. It's just my wife said, "Well, what do you have to show for all that time?" And I was like, I really didn't have anything tangible till I have a couple things that I could listen to that sounded great, and I worked with a lot of great people, but there's nothing that I had recorded. So I really wanted to document a lot of the things that I had those experiences over the years, old and new, and what was inspiring me now. So I kind of put that together, and then now I'm kind of doing I'm evolving to new stuff. I'm sorry?
Was that your first solo project outside of being in a band?
Well, the Mystic Holiday was my first solo. That was my first really. I did 3 or 4 CDs before, but they were all just me doing stuff, and it was soundtrack work. It really wasn't, it wasn't to the level that Mystic Holiday was. I went to National Public Radio and recorded on their 9-foot Steinway, and I really did some nice things. My engineer that I worked with at that, he's a Grammy Award, he's pretty awesome. Ezra Gold, he's a fantastic guy. And then Jeff Jones did my artwork for both that CD and this CD. And Jeff Jones is he's part of an amazing group out of the Twin Cities called Sounds of Blackness. Yeah. And if you're familiar with Gary Hines and that whole group, they've just done some amazing things. As I was kind of getting out of the music business, my kind of last big thing that I got to do is I got a song on one of their albums, so it's pretty cool. They're pretty amazing. It was with a writer, Mindy Johnson, who I've since lost touch with, but talented young woman. She wrote a song. I played all the instruments, and then they put those beautiful voices on it. It was just, it's amazing. So,
with you having 40 years in the industry, and you just mentioned earlier that how so many things have changed since when you first entered the industry. What is the best thing that you have found that has changed, that has made your life so much easier as an instrumentalist?
Whoa, that's a big question. Let me try and unpack it. First of all, it's 40 years. It's a 40-year period, but you got to take 20 out. I had 20, and then I was doing other things and raising a kid.
Always a musician.
Yeah, I'd sit in.
I'm sure that you still done family reunions, and you still sing for the family. Yeah. You're still on FaceTime. So once a musician, always a musician.
Yeah, and I have a cousin who's a rock star, pretty famous, and I have an uncle who's a Hall of Famer, and yeah, so it's in the family. But so the gap is probably the most interesting thing. So back back in the day, back when I was in the business before, there were record labels, and
Right.
there was a whole different hierarchy in how you got into the business. And then came Napster, right? That changed that whole distributed, that just transformed the whole music industry. Everybody was scrambling to how they're going to.
Hi, this is Marlette with Classic Glam by Marlette, where classic never goes out of style. We're based here in Pine Bluff, Arkansas, but you can reach us on our website at classicglamgirl.com or Facebook and Instagram at Classic Glam by Marlette.
Get paid. So really one of the big things. So when I released Mystic Holiday in 2005, I think it was, there wasn't the streaming services weren't there. It just went out. I signed up for a because I know you're big on this in for your audience. This is a really important step in making sure that your royalties are tracked, right? And so I signed up for CD Baby. Now, CD Baby was pretty innovative at their time. They evolved and tied in with the Orchard Network, which by doing a release, and I use disc makers to make the CD. They actually connect the dots for CD Baby, and it makes it a lot easier. But anyways, you go into an Orchard, and you manage your all of your tracks, whether it's an instrumental or vocal, but a single, I mean, or an album, and then they're managing collecting from all these different places. So I was so excited when this went out and it got out. I sold my first CD in South Korea. My music kind of fits in an odd niche. It isn't really all radio, or it isn't really too commercial. It's hard to go, it's new age. Well, it's not really new age. It's jazz. Well, it's not really jazz, but it's influenced by all these things. It's soulful. So that's one of the biggest challenge I have with my, I want to say non-commercial music, because I write music on purpose for specific stuff, but for my creative works that I just kind of, what comes to me, it doesn't fit in a particular niche or category. You might have noticed that in listening to the couple selections that I've shared with you. They're like, well, they're not really funk. They're not really soul. They're not really R&B. It's so that, the one thing, about that I've seen that's changed, and especially even since 2005 when I introduced the solo piano, is now there's all these options for Share Pro, which is how I met you, and I think it's Submission Hub and some of these others, where you push it out there, and what you're doing is you're taking sometimes it's a shotgun approach, and other times you narrow it in. You're throwing your music out to the world, and some people go, well, hey, that's cool, but it's not my thing, and that's okay. They're honest, and I appreciate that, because what I'm trying to do is find niches, right? But that wasn't there. That ability to go out and reach folks like yourself that are doing unique things, reaching targeted audiences, and if it resonates, you throw it to the wall, and if it sticks, great. I find now, and I am sorry if I'm just kind of charging forward, but I find now that this is what there's so many awesome playlists for right now, and I never did any marketing for that, because everybody likes that mellow, put the music on in the background with their working stuff, and I dig that too. But the new album right here is different. This is more of like, it's a little bit of a chance to, I don't want to say show off, but execute some of the skills that I learned and have been lucky to hang on to.
Okay. Well, that's to me is still, I guess, networking and room for possibility, because a lot of producers would check out other instrumentals to be able to use samples from it. I mean, so is with your music, when I heard it, it was so different. And I was like, so I would not have as you said, would not have a genre to put it under, because it do feel like it pulled from so many things. But a question that I have for you, I was reading your bio, and you said that you make music, basically highway music that you can ride to. Now, why do you feel like you make highway music?
Well, for a road trip is I think what of the term that I put. You know, well, I made a joke one time. Yeah, it's great music for mowing the lawn. Well, wait a minute. The lawnmower is really loud, so maybe I don't want that to be the case. But you get in a car and you're driving and you're doing, and you know, it's a good. I've got a van, all right, and I love Tower of Power. They're just like they hit me in the heart, right? And I have some friends that from the Minnesota music scene that, you know, Ricky Peterson and so forth. These guys, they have a couple new hours, and so I have a couple select albums that I will play in my van, and that is a signature for the van, right?
Okay.
And I'm like, I put this on, like, you know, hey, that fits in the vibe too, and so it's kind of cool for a road trip, and that's where I kind of came up with that phrase. I just when would people want to listen to it? The other one, Mystic.
It's a new giveaway. The Blind Intelligence Wine Tray Set and the Chris Nielsen Our Voyage Home CD giveaway. To enter, comment on Chris's interview on any Blind Intelligence platform and you will be entered. Drawing is April 30th, 2021, posted on the Blind Intelligence Facebook page.
Holiday they want to listen to and they want to put it in the background when they're doing something, and that's okay. This is something that you're going to groove a little bit more to, and there's enough. It's more, a little bit more of a journey or an adventure.
Okay. How do you feel about social media?
It's a lot of work.
But do you feel like it's necessary for the music industry now?
Oh, absolutely. And just I teach a class to some young folks right now. It's a jobs training class, and I'm part of what I'm going through with them is teaching them about social media. I have a web development company, and I've been doing it for a few years, so I know how it's all glued together. It's not I work in a different area, but I manage teams that do it and so forth. So I'm doing this social media stuff for myself. And so now it's, oh my gosh, you've got to be right there, okay? It's very time consuming. You have to be right there and respond, because these are relationships. In any business that you're in, it's about relationship management and making people feel appreciated. And I appreciate it when people give me a share. So I say, thanks for listening. Thanks for having me on your show. I really appreciate this opportunity. And I hope people will go to my website and my YouTube channel and my Facebook and all those social channels, because that's really how you have to build that following, those relationships and those connections. For example, I mean, I don't have a big following yet on my YouTube channel, but in order to monetize, where you actually get paid for commercials, you have to get, I don't know if you've gotten there yet, but you have to get to a 1,000 subscribers or 4,000 viewing hours. That's a big nut.
But there's other ways to make money outside of that.
To your question about what's different and how it's changed and how social media is really impacting this, I agree with you in that idea of video ads and Facebook advertising. One of the challenges with some of that is once you start, especially with Facebook, then they don't give you as much in the natural anymore. Because hey, they got money, they're going to spend it.
Have changed too since COVID. There are a lot of restrictions on the way that you advertise on Facebook and Instagram now.
Yep. So the thing is that there's so many. It's like a web of things that you have to keep track of. So as you were talking about just a moment ago, the idea of dashboards, using dashboards effectively to be able to see the results. That's one of the things we met through SharePro, plug to them. That was a great platform. And that gives you a dashboard to go through your meeting and you're nurturing relationships. You're seeing the feedback and you can compare and you're getting to know these people that sign up. They're professionals like yourself that are doing this and listening to a lot of music. I for one, I want to know the feedback because I'm trying to find the niche. I'm trying to find the genre to where I'm going to resonate the most. And so a dashboard like that is really helpful for that. Now there's a different dashboard with what are they? Submission Hub or Submit Hub. It's a similar kind of thing, and they have it segmented between influencers, and so a guy just shared my.
Of that, I used to manage an artist, and I submitted a lot of his work through those types of places.
It's great. It's a lot to keep track of and unpack, but I'm figuring out ways of kind of economizing my time with it and that sort of thing, because it can be a real time suck. And you get excited, well, you don't. I don't take it personally. Somebody declined. Okay, that's fine. It just doesn't fit for what they're doing. If they've got a relaxation channel, they don't want my funky thing going on, or versa vice. Well, then I know next time what to submit to them. So some of it's just mixing and matching and finding those little niches that you can go to. And I hope as other artists are figuring this out and deciding how they're going to do, package your stuff, know your stuff, get it in a good shape, have it mixed and mastered professionally. I use the guys at Dr. Mix in the UK.
Yes. Yes, because I have gotten some submissions, and what they have in the intro is, I'm just submitting the best that I can do right now. I want to know what you think, and I'll advertise with Blonde Intelligence, where our listeners experience exquisite cranial repertoire. Blonde Intelligence is a new podcast and video channel featuring entertainment, musical artists, producers, entrepreneurs, as well as discussions on social topics, making the Blonde Intelligence platform suitable for a wide variety of product ad types. Video, Instagram TV, YouTube, and links shared to all Blonde Intelligence social media pages and select group networking platforms. This creates a collective base of over 50,000 potential sets of eyes on your product or service. Each sponsored ad will feature on both the podcast and video platforms. Sponsors have the choice of either a voice ad or audio-video ad, with 3 options for placements. Create a win-win business partnership by advertising with Blonde Intelligence. Be like, but if you don't have it ready for the public, why do you want to know what I think? Because I can't tell you what I think. You haven't submitted me a finished product.
Yeah, so if they get a good finished product, then so I'm actually, I did all that first, and I knew what I needed to do. I needed to get some videos. I'm in production right now on like 16 more videos. Okay, every time I post, we went to Brazil for 3 weeks and captured all kinds of footage, and we got these skateboarders and stuff. My wife's from Brazil, so I don't speak Portuguese as well as I should have, but I'm getting there, right? And I brought a videographer with me, and we got these kids playing skateboarding and stuff. And they connected with me somehow because I gave them, where my website. And every time I post a video, they go, "Where's my skateboard? I want to see me." It's kind of a funny side story. But anyways, so we, the idea is you have to be prepared to put out videos to be able to have all those pieces. So I kind of planned to have all my production stuff together. So now that I'm pushing out, an album with 13 songs, I'm trying to get a new video out every week, and that's a lot of work.
That is a lot of work.
But I've got a really good team of folks that are helping me with that. And in the meantime, I'm listening because I'm checking out what everybody else is doing, and I'm thinking about. I signed up for a 5-day. There's a group on Facebook, a 5-day challenge of for sync rights for film and video and how to connect, because that's an area where I think my music really lends itself well for. And I guess it's because I did it, commercially for a while, and that my tastes might have gone that way, combined with my background in alternative music and world music and so forth. But that was an interesting group. It's a group of 4,000 songwriters, right? And we're all interacting on this group. It starts in a few days, and I'm looking forward to it. But it's really neat to see some of these types of things that are starting to come around. People are networking. They're adapting to the COVID situation.
Well, I thank you for coming, And I would like for you to give your social media handle, any last words, anything that you would want to say about how they can find you, how to work with you, or anything.
Well, the easiest thing to do is to go to my website, which is cnpcreative.com, Charlie Nancy Paul creative.com. And I have all my other music handles. I have access to my social media. I have access to my 3 albums that I have so far. I'll be putting up more. I have a couple older albums that I'm going to remaster and put up there. I have some new works that are in the works. The Landscapes is my next new album that'll be coming out here hopefully in a couple weeks. But what I'm pushing right now is Our Voyage Home, and there's some wonderful selections on there that really come from the heart, and they cross a lot of different genres of music. Soul and R&B and funk and jazz and blues, and it's kind of all Latin, and that's all kind of lumped together into a smorgasbord, if you will, of interesting journeys. And this voyage home comes from the heart because it's reflecting my voyage in the music business, and my journey voyage back to my roots, being in music after taking some time off to hopefully become a better person and do other things. And I appreciate your time and today and talking to me and supporting my music. And I appreciate what you're doing to help other artists with their careers, with good advice and insights. And it's kind of a brave new world out there. I'm having fun. I'm learning, and it's really a joy to meet new people like yourself and so forth. So cnpcreative.com, and then get over to my YouTube channel. Love me, like me. If you don't like something, tell me. But hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. You know, someday I'll get up to that 1,000 and viewers or subscribers, and I'll keep chugging it out, and hopefully win some new friends and fans in the way.
All right. Thank you for coming. I want to remind everybody that you can find the video show on YouTube, on IGTV. You also can find the podcast form on all major podcasting platforms. Don't forget to subscribe. Bye.
Thank you.
It's a new giveaway. The Blonde Intelligence Wine Tray Set and the Chris Nielsen Our Voyage Home CD giveaway. To enter, comment on Chris's interview on any Blonde Intelligence platform and you will be entered. Drawing is April 30th, 2021, posted on the Blonde Intelligence Facebook page.